mynews.studio.
Picture this. In Lagos, volunteers from AXA are planting mangrove saplings right next to a busy city highway. It raises the question, can a single week of organized corporate effort actually change communities in a meaningful way?
Today's date is June 26th, 2025. Let's dive in. We're talking about over 20,000 employees across more than 30 countries. What exactly took place during AXA's Week for Good?
AXA got its employees involved in a range of activities: tree planting, cleaning riverbanks, bringing mobile health services to communities, supporting refugees, and visiting children in hospitals. While the overall plan was global, each location tailored events to local needs. The overarching aim: advance climate action, protect biodiversity, and foster social inclusion.
That's a substantial list. But is this more than a PR move? How do they determine if these efforts have a real, measurable effect?
That's important. AXA tracks how many employees take part. This year, it was over 20,000. Their stated goal is to see half their global workforce participate by 2026. They also monitor activity types and locations. Each year, they publish sustainability reports, matching these efforts against larger environmental and social goals.
But is that impact verified in any transparent way, or is it mostly just AXA reporting on itself?
The main numbers come from AXA's own reporting. They share participation rates, where projects take place, and what kinds of activities are included. But as for third-party audits or outside verification, that's not a major part of what's published, at least not from what's available to the public. That's definitely an area where more could be done. Sometimes, validation happens through recognition from local governments or NGO partnerships. For instance, the Lagos government has acknowledged AXA's climate efforts.
So there's some local feedback, but not a lot of formal independent checks. Do we know if AXA takes feedback from these events and uses it to improve for next year?
They do work with local partners in planning, and there's informal feedback after events. But there isn't much evidence of systematic surveys or structured debriefs with participants. AXA says it's trying to build a culture of what they call care and dare, the idea being to encourage empathy and real accountability, not just symbolic gestures.
That brings up another point. How do they avoid these actions becoming just symbolic or a once-a-year checkbox?
Scale plays a role here. Coordinating 20,000 people in 30 countries is logistically challenging, so it's not something that happens lightly. AXA does set public goals and regularly reports progress, aiming for transparency. Still, without outside verification, there's a risk of overstating results. The process is evolving, and there's growing pressure from stakeholders for stronger evidence.
Why does this matter outside of AXA? What does it tell us about how companies are tackling issues like climate change or inequality?
It shows that companies can mobilize people and resources quickly, often on a scale that public sector efforts can't match. But it also highlights challenges around accountability, effectiveness, and transparency. The key questions remain: are these efforts scalable, and do they create lasting change or just short-term improvements?
So are we seeing a new kind of corporate responsibility emerging, or will concerns about greenwashing slow things down?
That's the big unknown. The demand for real, measurable impact is only increasing. If more companies get involved, clearer standards and more independent oversight will be needed.
So we've looked at AXA's global reach, their goals, some of the challenges, and the debate over real impact. Can corporate volunteering spark genuine change, or is it just the first step towards something bigger?
Regardless, expectations are rising for what major employers can and should do, and the conversation is far from over.
Thanks for joining us as we unpacked AXA Week for Good and the future of corporate responsibility.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now, free of charge.